think for me, just kind of friendship evangelism, just making friends wherever I go, and then just speaking Jesus into their lives and telling them, sharing with them what Jesus has done in my life. And that's what I think my kind of gift is.
We were talking about spiritual gifts the other day, and what has been a theme. The focus that God really led me to is partnership and collaboration, and the importance of us working as a body. And so I said my spiritual gift is I show up. And by showing up and by being there, we recognize God's faithfulness, because inevitably He's going to lead, even if we're not quite sure what's going to happen when we show up. I've never had it fail that He hasn't led and guided us during that time.
You know, when we first went to the mission field, you know, you had to have a verse on your prayer card that they required, and we, you know, I was 24 and Jay was 25, and we chose the verse Joshua 1:9. You know, be strong and be courageous, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And I think I've just carried that through life. He's with me wherever I go. If it's a different country, if it's a different city in the United States, if it's, you know, next door, He's with me wherever I go.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to our calling and having direction, it's been God's faithfulness. And the way that God showed us His faithfulness was not only through His word and through prayer, but in the presence of the Holy Spirit, but it's also through people. And First Presbyterian Church in Chattanooga has been probably one of the finest examples in our lives of the faithfulness of God through God's people, God's faithful people in the mission that He has called all of us to do.
So if we were to talk about a major theme that God has been working in our life, it's really a lot of just dependence on Him, that God is faithful, that we just need to seek Him, and that He's going to be our rock and our strength.
Also that we're not really qualified to do some of the things we've done. We didn't think we were. I mean, I knew Joe was a good teacher, but it just involves so much more than that. And God's given me the opportunity to strengthen my gifts that I didn't even know that I had. But throughout my life, little things that I've done for my work have kind of all come together in what I'm doing now, working with the students and bringing people over and cleaning and painting and things that you wouldn't expect would be in their job description.
Kind of helping people to feel welcome when they come.
I'll say first of all, what is my life mission? My life mission, and probably ours together, would be to proclaim Christ, especially in places where He has not been heard, but also to see churches planted, because we just really are very strong on the whole notion of the church and how important that is. But also, and I started this when I was in Senegal, to be able to train new workers for the gospel ministry and for church planting. So I think those three things, proclaiming Christ, seeing churches planted, and training others.
I think for me, our life mission and service to me ended up just being the French-speaking world. Like, I don't think we kind of realized that, but we started out in the French, and then when we ended up having the opportunity to go get trained in in France, to go back to Quebec originally, and we just realized that God seemed to have put us in this direction of the French-speaking world. And that was just a whole learning experience of, like, going back to what we said about Europe, what formed the French mind, and even just learning the language and how does language relate to the way that you think? And I just feel like for me, the verse is just, lo, I'm with you always, even unto the end of the world, because we've been all over the place. And I think it's just been very striking to me that now that we're back in Georgia, Georgia's probably the biggest, contrast to that is no matter where I've gone, God's with me. And we're still part of the kingdom work because God's kingdom is everywhere. And it doesn't matter what phase of life we're in or what level of service we're in, we're all in the mission for the kingdom.
Actually, I pulled out of my Bible my mission statement. I have it on this card. It is Psalm 51, 10 through 13. I wrote this card in April of 1991, which was only 18 months after I came to Christ. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit in me. I knew first I had to be faithful to God and always seek Him, and that He would be working in me to cleanse my heart. Do not cast me from your presence or take your Holy Spirit from me. I knew that I couldn't do this without the Holy Spirit and His work in me, that God had to be present in every step that I took. Restore to me the joy of your salvation and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me. And this has been a really important portion in the longevity. Staying 25 years in Mexico has not been easy, and I've had my ups and downs, but God was also always the source of the joy that came with my salvation. He was the source of giving me a willing spirit, and that in itself could sustain me for those 25 years. Then I will teach transgressors your ways, and sinners will turn back to you. The important thing was that my testimony of Jesus Christ couldn't be realized fully unless those prior three things happened. Then I could teach transgressors His ways, and sinners have turned back to Him.
World Missions is funded by the faith promise giving of our members and friends. We hope you will prayerfully consider supporting the worldwide outreach of First Presbyterian Church.